And their struggle with where is God was deep and profound. For many people, I wanted to read some stuff here. Rochelle Sutton, who I talked about at the beginning of the presentation, who settled in St. Paul, basically what she said, looking for that, is, you know, I grew up with religious observance in God. And it just, she said, I couldn't totally dismiss the notion of God, but it became much less so. In particular, it angered me that in response to the hatred and madness of the Nazi butchers, so many rabbis took the approach that submission, martyrdom, was the correct religious response. To martyr oneself is to perform the sanctification of the holy name. I understood the principle here. And she goes on to say, but those are not the teachings I could accept. I could not see the death at the hands of Nazis as sanctification. It was a degradation. I wanted to live. I wanted my family to live. There's more. In general, I think there were probably three views about if there's a God, where was God? I mean, one, from Kushner's book, Bad Things Happen to Good People. Well, there's a finite God. God is not all-powerful. We're given free will. God's established the world. We're given free will. And people are going to do really bad things. Our belief in God leads us to do good things in the aftermath. And people talked about that. I remember very specifically rabbis in 9/11 commemorations. We find God, we find the goodness and the heroism of people who went into the towers. People, the firemen, the policemen, nurses, and other rescuers. Yehuda Bauer, foremost Holocaust scholar in Israel, simply said, for me, the existence of God after the Holocaust is impossible. So if there is a God that one way or another controls the destiny of the world, even if the God retires and does not wish to do, he can and he knows, otherwise he's not a God. So this is a discussion I know I'll take with a couple of my friends here who attended church this morning. And we'll have some great discussions, yes.
A lot of people don't know that we have an excellent center for Holocaust and genocide studies here at the University of Minnesota under the auspices of Professor Alejandro Baer. It was started by Stephen Feinstein, and it celebrates the 20th anniversary this month. And there's going to be quite a few people that will be attending a service, or I don't know what to call it, this month, but you ought to get in touch with that. Anybody who's interested, they do loan out in materials.
Okay, that's a great transition to my final few minutes, Janet.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
We got time. Okay, so this, what's the lessons of all this stuff? If you look in the handout, you'll see it's a lesson, it's a revision of what we know about Chicago politics. Okay. So the lesson is, if we flip through, okay, yeah, okay. So what would that be? Resist early and resist often. Okay. Oppose racism. I think I need not reiterate what we're seeing in our country today. We've heard today a little bit about what racism leads to. We also know in our own country, racism leads to slavery, and it leads to the forced evacuation of Native Americans from their eastern homes into the western United States. And some of my wife's forebears in the Choctaw and Cherokee tribes were forced to walk the Trail of Tears. Tens of thousands of Native Americans died. Promote social solidarity and not the Ayn Rand individualism that opposes any form of altruism. So these are two overall lessons.
Oh, and I was just going to put a plug in for right now at the Guthrie is Watch on the Rhine.
Yeah.
And I don't know if any of you guys have seen that, but it gets to all of this.
Well done.
Yeah, well, now this is something perhaps we'll take up at another time because we'll look at the videos, and it's looking internally here about what we do. How do we remember the Holocaust and resistors? One thing we do is to use the entire term for that day of remembrance for the Holocaust and heroism, and not just the day of the Holocaust. It's to develop some partnerships. Every year, our Jewish Community Relation Council hosts a Yom HaShoah memorial. They've not had resistance as part of those days. I did talk to Laura Zell. She said, we're considering doing that. We can put some pressure on them and make that a very meaningful remembrance. And the letter to Steven Spielberg, I'll ignore it. It has to do with Schindler's List. He made a movie, and who's the hero? A Nazi. Okay. There's more, but I will stop here. Thank you all for your attention, your questions, and now I think we're excited to have you meet.
Yep, and I'll just need you to tell me.
Okay, let's go first with the introduction to Jewish partisans. And you'll hear Ed Asner as the narrator.
What, say again which one? That's this
Introduction to the partisans.
That's this one?
No. If you, yeah. And then type in JPEF. Okay, no. Introduction to partisans, and then JPEF. Yes, there we go.
This is so work we absolutely.
That was just the prologue.
These are the images that come to mind when people think about the Jewish experience during the Holocaust. But these are not the only images. There were 20 to 30,000 Jews who formed organized armed resistance groups all throughout Europe. These little-known freedom fighters conducted thousands of acts of sabotage against their Nazi oppressors. They were known as Jewish partisans.
People did not go only like sheep to their death. People were fighting every which way they can.
I did my job the best I could. I was in many battles with the Germans face to face. Sometimes maybe 100 feet away. And bullets were flying all sides. And luckily, I survived.
Let's say a German column was marching to us. We ambushed them.
The partisans, they fought for freedom, for a better tomorrow, for a better future. And they fought in order not to be eliminated by the Germans, against the Germans.
Jewish partisans were responsible for the liberation of thousands of Jews trapped in ghettos, saving them from annihilation.
I started to organize an escape. I had 55 people, so they were willing to escape. From the 55, 30 were killed. 25 made it into the woods. Without the forest, we couldn't survive.
The trees, the sky, the pine needle ground were some of them. The underground hut was a window. We're dealing with friendly and unfriendly peasants. The friendly peasant supported us with food and with ammunition. The unfriendly peasant had no choice. We would get in at night, pick up the prepared food orders that were prepared for the Germans, and leave receipts. The partisans were here.
The moon was our biggest enemy, because if there was a moonlight, because in the day we couldn't go, in the night. If there was a moonlight night, we could move. So the night, blizzard, heavy snow, heavy rain, this was our friends.
Jewish partisans committed thousands of acts of sabotage, significantly impeding the Nazi war effort.
We were interested in getting involved in sabotage acts to interrupt and disrupt the communication and transportation to the front.
We attacked the depot. We hit the guards and got ammunition, and we blew up the train depot.
We could see the Germans there, and I could recognize the Germans that I wanted to kill, who killed my friend. And they started to shoot towards us, but when they shot only from revolvers. They were not prepared, they didn't have rifles, they didn't have machine guns. We overpowered them, so little by little their shooting stopped.
We had to blow up a train, and it was sitting in the background and waiting till the train approached, and some of the Germans got killed.
It's the same to Jews as is to Americans to study the Revolutionary War and its heroes, right? People put their chest in front of English muskets to build a country. We put our chest in front of German muskets to defend ourselves from annihilation and maybe prevent the death of other Jews.
If I was going to get killed, I was going to get killed as a fighter. Not because I'm a Jew.
I survived for two legacies, for revenge and for telling the story. Revenge from my father and telling the story from my mother. So if I had the chance, and if I lived for resistance, this was the most important thing for me. And I didn't care if I would be killed, if I wouldn't be killed, I had to do it.
There's such a thing as fighting back. This is the way I think. That's why I'm sitting here to give you the interview. Why else would I do it? I want the people to know that we were fighting.
This is the hymn of Jewish partisans.
So nicht kämen also gegen letzten Weg, kämen eine Verstellung Weg. Kommen wird noch unser ausgewählte Schau, es wird am Beutel unser Wasser reinen do.
Kommen wird noch unser ausgewählte Schau, es wird am Beutel unser Trockner sein do. Sprotzen wird dort unser Gore, unser Mo, gesingen mit Naganes in die Hände.
Clock watcher.
It's 5 to 12,
Do we have?
5 minutes. Or we can run over a little bit. That's up to everyone.
Vidka.
For those who were not at the High Holiday services, we sang that song.
Well, this is the
Yeah, or I am, go back up. Yeah, I am talking. Oh, yeah, this.
Psychologique. Apparaît, était là, des bons partisans, des bétonniers, des
מה שמאפיין את הארגון בווילנה, קודם כל, הגורם המרכזי בארגון שנקרא FPO, Vereinigte Partisaner Organisation, זאת אומרת, היא ארגון ראשון שיצא בקריאה למרד בגטו. זאת אומרת, אותו הקרוז המפורסם של אבא קומר על בל נלך רצון על הטבח.
בגטו זה היה משהו הכי מפורסם, כשאני הייתי זאת שפיצצתי רכבת, ולא היו פרטיזנים בכלל, אז זה התפרסם מאוד בדימוס. זה היה אחת הדמויות הכי משמעותיות. בדרך כלל לא היו נשים בפרטיזנים, בדרך כלל. אצלנו היו הרבה. הבחורים נהרגו מפני זה. ואלה שהצטרפו אליהם, הם באו להציל את עצמם, הם באו זוגות.
בשלב הראשון, מאוד חשוב, קיבלו את אבא קובלר כמפקד. ולכן זה מה שאפשר לנשים להיות שוות ערך, כמובן שהן לא צריכות להוכיח את עצמם.
היה שם מאוד חשב, בעיקר. אני הייתי מפקד סיירת, זה משאיר לי הודעות, ואני הייתי מעבירה הודעות לאחרים, נניח שגרמנים נמצאים פה או שם. אז יום אחד, אני הייתי שם עם קבוצה של פרטיזנים שונים, מחרבי גדודים שונים. ואנחנו היינו בגדוד ייחודי. ופתאום באו פרטיזנים שלנו, מהגדוד שלנו יהודים. הם ראו שיהודים התנפלו עליהם ולקחו לך הנשק. אני חוצאתי אקדח והייתי נותנים אני יורה. אז הם התגברו עליי, מה אני אחד מול כמה, לקחו את הנשק ורחצתי למטה. מפקד של חטיבה היה יהודי. אנחנו לא ידענו, הוא הסתתר, אבל היה יהודי. והוא נתן לנו הוראה להחזיר לי את הנשק. אבל מרגיז אותי עד היום, איך הבחורים האלה נתנו שככה יעשו לכם. באמת, כל הזמן אני חושבת, שמה אני מספרת את זה. יכול להיות שאני מרגישה שאני גם כבר זקנה ושזה יכול להיות, לא יודעת למה. כי אני אף פעם סיפרתי. כשהייתה רושקה ואבא בחיים והם תמיד דיברו ממני, אף פעם לא אמרתי. אולי בגלל זה שהם אינם שאני חושבת שמישהו צריך.
I wasn't that far away from the kibbutz where she and her husband Abba were living when I was in Israel. If I had known, I could have gone to visit them. Let's go, we'll do two more. Just one, an Auschwitz memoir, and then Richard will see how to really sing that song. All right? With feeling. Okay, we'll do one for, okay. Yeah. And that was from the show. Yeah.
Can you turn the volume up a little bit more?
Sure. Okay, yeah, okay, 4 minutes with Anna Heilman, and then as I said to Richard.
He used to put a little bit of gunpowder wrapped up in a little rag, tied with a string, into a box, and put garbage on the top box, and I was walking with these two boxes from my place to her door, and from her door back into my place, and put it under the table and put it inside the cuff of my dress because we didn't have pockets. From there I used to go to the washroom, and in the washroom shared this gunpowder with another girl, with Alla. And all the way from the factory. It was about 3 kilometers to Birkenau where we lived. We used to carry this on our bodies. From time to time there were searches. When we heard that there was a search, we used to unwrap this gunpowder, throw it on the ground, and mix it with our feet on the ground so it was not distinguishable from the dirt underfoot.
And if there was no search?
Then we used to bring it to Birkenau. I gave it to my sister, and my sister gave it to, I don't know, either they left it to Roger Robota or to somebody else. I don't know exactly who gave it to Roger Robota. It went to a special hiding place. Roger Robota had contact with the men from the crematorium, and they had the privileges to come into the women's camp. And in that particular spot, they used to come and pick it up and bring it into the crematorium. In October 44, there was a revolt in the crematorium. The Sonderkommando, those were the people who were manning the crematorium, knew that from time to time, after a certain period of work, they were being murdered as not to bear witnesses. And that particular group decided that they are going to rebel. They used this gunpowder and manufactured little hand grenades made out of metal round boxes of shoe polish with a wick and filled with gunpowder. And when you lit it, it exploded. I don't know how much damage it did or it didn't. This revolt that took place on October 7, 1944 was aborted. Either they were betrayed or whatever. All the Sonderkommando people were killed. But the crematorium was destroyed as well. So there were 4 crematoriums in Birkenau and one was destroyed by this. After the revolt, the Germans found these little handmade grenades and they identified the gunpowder, which of course we didn't know that gunpowder has some kind of special characteristic. They identified this gunpowder as coming only from the Union and only from Pulverland, where my sister worked. They started an investigation. They imprisoned 4 girls, Roja Robota, Alla Gertner, Regina Saperstein, and Esther Weisblum. They tortured them mercilessly and eventually hanged them publicly on January 5th, 1945.
We will end on a rousing note. If you heard my exchange with Richard, the partisan...
It's nothing personal.
No, nothing, no, it's just a point of...
Connection.
Yeah. Introducing the next video. As you can see, it's a 24-minute video about a gathering in 2011, I believe it was, of about 65 partisans and their families in this reunion. There are some wonderful interviews and embraces of people who hadn't seen each other since they left Eastern Europe. But here, Ed Asner speaks for a moment, and then there's singing of that song.
Tonight, we honor you. We honor your bravery and your courage. Thank you for putting the lie back into the teeth of those who said Jews did not fight back. And for inspiring all of us to to standing up against tyranny, oppression, and discrimination. I salute, I applaud you, we all applaud you.
This is the hymn that we sang in the forests. And all the partisans, they sang it.
Kinderen finstere nacht. The days are very sad, but it will come. The ongewilde show. It will come the right day that we will say with our foot, wir sind da, we are here. We are proud that we are here.
Weißen Palmenland bis weißem Land vor Schnee. Wir kommen an mit unserer Pein, mit unserer Weh. Und wo ihr Polen seht, spritzt von unser Blut. Sprotzen weg durch unser Gewurre, unser Mut.
It is like a national anthem. It gives you a good feeling, you know, that you have a future and things like that, you know. It came shivers in my body, you know, when we were singing that song.
And we were singing the partisans. And after the war, I met my beautiful wife in Poland. We were married over 65 years. And every morning when we go to our exercise, I see my beautiful wife and I sing the song to her. So by singing the song every morning to my wife, it makes my day. Because we are both partisans and coming with happiness that we are alive.
We are here. This is a song in English. This shouldn't be the last road. You should always go ahead. You should fight for your rights, for your tomorrow, and for your life. All enjoyed it. The food was excellent.
And the drinks were better. Well, thank you so much for helping introduce. There are some links at the end of, thank you. There are some links at the end of the PowerPoint handout. I'll have more and I'll organize some more stuff. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
We are here and the kids come back in about 20 minutes. So if people